Well, folks, welcome in tonight. It's the Bro Code podcast here on the Coast to Coast Entertainment Network. It's just me right now. We'll see if anyone else comes on, but I'll talk to you for a few minutes. J Mac here with you. I used to have a podcast that was on my own. It was actually called J Mac on his own. That was where I got started in podcasting. It was in about 2019, right around the pandemic. Is about when we started that. And so, anyway, that's when we started that. But lots going on today. Baseball is probably the most, I would say. Make sure, again, if you have a question, drop it in the comments. But I'll tell you, baseball was exciting today. There was really just two games. It was the Braves and the Mets in a doubleheader. Mets pulled out the first game 9-8. It was a pretty exciting game. It was 8-7. Braves were up 3-0. The Mets came back, scored 6 runs. It was 6-3. Then Atlanta went ahead 7-6, and then Lindor hit the 2-run homer in the ninth inning to make it 8-7. They took game 1, which clinched them a playoff berth, and then Atlanta was able to take game 2 3-0, which clinched them a playoff berth as well. That makes Atlanta the 5 seed in the NL wild card race, and that makes the Mets the 6th seed. So Atlanta goes on to play San Diego tomorrow. The series starts tomorrow against the Padres, and then the Mets go to play the Brew Crew, and they'll go play the Brewers, who is the 3 seed. So that's how that shapes up. Of course, the Dodgers and the Phillies going on into the NLDS, and they're awaiting the winner of those wild card matchups. Of course, the lowest seeded team remaining will go to play the Dodgers, and the highest team seeded remaining will go to play the Phillies. So we'll see how all that pans out. Wild night in the NFL. Some different scores than what you thought they would have been. Pull those up now. Anyone playing fantasy that's had some good luck or some bad luck? I'll tell you what. I last week, it came down to the Monday night game last week for me, and I ended up prevailing. And then it came down to the Monday night this week. I needed it was down like 8.8 points or something, 8.8, and I had Kenneth Walker going, and what a great pick that turned out for me. He scored 29.6, so I ended up winning by a full 21 points in the week. Put me to 3-0. I know I'm 3-0. My biggest performers this week were definitely Joe Burrow, Robinson Jr. from the Commanders, and Kenneth Walker. All scored 19 or more points. No one else scored over 10. In fact, no one else scored over 8.7, and that was Chris Olave. Then after him, no one scored over 6. So really kind of a down week, but got the job done. 110 overall. Ended up winning it. So it puts me at 3-0 as far as that goes. Some big matchups next week in the league coming down. Of course, that all starts Thursday night. Thursday night is always the kickoff night for the NFL as far as the week goes. But we're going to have a postseason baseball. So anyone that's a baseball fan, we got postseason baseball starting tomorrow. Again, that's going to be Atlanta and San Diego and New York and Milwaukee are playing tomorrow. For those of you that used to follow my old podcast, we'll hit that a little more today. So I used to talk everything sports. Of course, the NHL's back in the swing of things. I'm an NHL fan. I love talking hockey. They had a split squad game today for a lot of different ones. So Detroit is the team that I root for. They had a split squad game today. They lost both of those matchups to the Penguins and the Sabres, 5-1 and 4-3 respectively. The Devils ended up beating the Rangers. The Islanders beat the Flyers. The Capitals beat the Blue Jackets. The Lightning beat the Panthers. Oilers beat the Canucks. Flames beat the Kraken, and the Kings beat the Anaheim Ducks. Now, again, this is just preseason NHL, but NHL season will be here before we know it. It's always exciting season to watch NHL hockey as well. We have another show on the network. It's hockey, but it's inline hockey, and it's one that I believe it's called Puck and Roll, and that is something that Callan McClurg, the professor of C2C, does. We have on deck, we have Sports Minute, we have C2C Game Night, the Die Hard Football Podcast with wrestling shows. There is the Fantasy Show, which is, I believe, on the couch. And so we have a bunch of different shows. We're hoping to get some new live events for you this year. I know we're doing I'll pull that one up real quick. We're doing the Backyard Brew Games again is one that we are doing again. Don't forget about that. We will have that come April this year. That'll be in April, and we'll have that as well. Let's not forget, if you want to get a tattoo done, we have a tattoo artist near and dear our heart. Check her stuff out on Instagram. And if you happen to be over in the Bend, Oregon area, that is where she does her work at. Go check that out. As well, we have, what else do we have? I mean, we have a bunch of stuff. Don't forget all of our sponsors. BesideMe.com, Suzanne's Paparazzi Jewelry. We have all the different sponsors. Don't forget to go check them out. It's always great to help out the local sponsors. They help us out a lot. Go check them out. Go through some stuff here. I should probably take that off my face, huh? Again, remember, I'm not really the guy, but we are live with StreamYard. Don't want to forget that. Of course, we always have tennis going. Other soccer leagues. There's English soccer, Spanish soccer, Italian soccer. I know that's over where our buddy Tim Hendricks lives. I'm sure he pays attention to that. We give them a shout out as well. Two NFL games happened tonight. We had the Titans and the Dolphins. The Titans ended up walking away with that victory, 31-12. It probably wasn't even as close as the score would have even indicated. Will Levis left that game for the Titans, and they were led by Mason Rudolph. There's a name we haven't heard in a while. Mason Rudolph, 9 of 17, 85 yards. No touchdowns, no interceptions. Just did what he needed to do. Didn't turn the ball over. That's the most important part of being a game manager. Then on the Dolphins side, you had Tyler Huntley starting, 14 of 22 for 96 yards. Their top rusher in that game was Huntley as well. 8 carries, 40 yards, and a touchdown. You had Wright with 9 carries and 32 yards. Atchney had 10 carries, but only 15 yards, just 1.5 yards a carry in this game. Long of 5 yards. Really not much to go as far as the receiving. Jalen Waddle was your top receiver with 4 catches, just 36 yards on the day. Tyreek Hill, he really got shut down in this game. 3 rushes for 19 yards and then 4 catches for 23. So touched the ball 7 times for a total of 42 yards. That's being shut down pretty well by a defense. But again, you're down a quarterback, so no one really throwing the ball. On the Titans side, your leading receiver was Denard Hopkins, 2 catches, 31 yards. Calvin Ridley had 1 catch, 15. He's really been a bust this year in fantasy. Hasn't done anything for anyone as far as the fantasy goes. Really has not performed well this year in fantasy. The other game that we had was the Lions and the Seahawks. And the Seahawks were winning this game for a while. I mean, but the Lions just were too tough. Geno Smith threw the ball 56 times, and it tells you the problem not getting winning the game if Geno Smith is throwing 56 times. Usually you're not winning a lot of games when your quarterback's having to throw the ball 56 times in a game, but Geno Smith was 38 of 56, so he did finish with 38 completions, which is a pretty impressive number. Just 1 touchdown, 395 yards. Jared Goff set an NFL record tonight with 18 completions, but in 18 attempts. So the most attempts ever in a game without throwing an incomplete pass. So Jared Goff setting an NFL record there. Kenneth Walker rushing the ball. He had 12 carries for 80 yards, but 3 touchdowns for Seattle. Definitely was their big tonight. And Jahmyr Gibbs for the Lions had 14 carries for 78 yards and 2 touchdowns. So big on that side of the ball as well. Really, Metcalf had 7 catches for 104, but no touchdowns. And Metcalf's kind of, he's had some good numbers this year, just 2 touchdown catches this year. So he definitely is not living up to last year's hype. That's for sure. And then on the Lions side of the ball, you had Williams with 2 catches for 80 yards, and then Laporta had 4 catches for 53. Amon-Ra St. Brown, 6 catches, 45 yards, and a touchdown. So just 45 yards from him tonight. But he did have a passing touchdown, which is interesting if you're on that side of things. So he did have a passing touchdown, which was his first career passing touchdown. By the way, what's in store for tomorrow, you ask? Well, let's say what's in store for tomorrow. We have, like we said, the Braves and the Padres for Major League Baseball. There's also the Tigers and the Astros. That one's 11:32 Pacific, so 2:32 Eastern time on that one tomorrow for the Tigers and the Astros, starting in that wild card matchup. On the American League side, and then the Royals and the Orioles are at 108, and then the Mets and the Brewers at 2:32, and the Braves and the Padres at 5:38 tomorrow night. And then we have the WNBA tomorrow. We have a series going between the Las Vegas Aces and the New York Liberty. That one, the Liberty lead that series 1-0. So the Aces and the brink of getting knocked out here of the playoffs after winning back-to-back championships. And then we have the Connecticut Sun and the Minnesota Lynx. The Sun lead that series 1-0 as well. So game 2 tomorrow in both of those. Interesting note here that I'm just coming across the desk here. The 2024 Seattle Mariners are the first team in Major League history. So they set another record this year to miss the playoffs in a season where they had a 10-game lead in the division. So think about that. They had a 10-game lead in that division, and they missed the playoffs. They're the first team to do that in Major League history. So anything else of note? Just like, those things coming tomorrow. All the great things coming off for tomorrow. After this, at I believe 11 p.m. tonight, we will have C2C tonight. I'm not sure if that's airing tonight. It usually airs on Monday nights after the Bro Code podcast. This is not going to be a normal hour-long show tonight. It's going to be half an hour. But I wanted to come on here and make sure that we're still doing this. We don't want to leave you guys out in the lurch. We know we have fans out there that rely on us being here every Monday. We do our best to do that. So we try to do our best in doing that. And forget everyone watching. We unfortunately lost Pete Rose today. The all-time hits leader in Major League Baseball is not in the Hall of Fame. We all know that story and reasons why he's not in the Hall of Fame. But rest in peace, Pete Rose. If there's anyone wants to comment on how they feel about that, Pete Rose is no longer with us. We were told that he's passed. Also, Dikembe Mutombo has passed as well. So kind of a couple shockers today. Dikembe Mutombo, I guess, had brain cancer, unfortunately, and he's no longer with us. Pete Rose, I think, was just natural causes, old age. He was 83, so that just kind of tough there. But I'm kind of curious how everyone feels. The NFL season is 4 weeks old now. And it seems like some teams, Minnesota's 4-0. They really should have lost this last weekend in Green Bay. Everyone blames the kickers, and I know that the kickers direct towards points. I get that. But Green Bay also turned the ball over 4 times. So that's 4 times you stopped a drive. One time it was at the goal line, so that at least would have been another field goal opportunity. So you could say it wouldn't translate into points, but at least would have been giving them another chance instead of turning the ball over. And I don't know. Did Jordan Love come back too quick? That might be it in Green Bay. Meanwhile, on the other end of the spectrum, Jacksonville's 0-4. Trevor Lawrence has now lost 8 straight starts. Things are not looking good in Jacksonville. The rumors are that Doug Peterson's the first coach fired this year. So that'll remain to be seen. However, I think that that still could happen. I don't think you're going to move on from Trevor Lawrence. You paid him too much money. But Doug Peterson, I think, at this point has kind of lost the team. I don't think that they're responding to him the way they were. So I think that he's going to be pretty well out there in Jacksonville on the other side of that. If some teams, so the Titans winning tonight, they go to 1-3, but then that also puts the Dolphins at 1-3, and that's an interesting one because they're right there with the Patriots, and the AFC East is 1-3, and the Bills lost last night to Baltimore. makes them 3-1, and the Jets are 2-2 in that division. The Jets are an interesting play. I mean, they're supposed to be a Super Bowl contender with Rodgers there. I just don't think they have the pieces around him to do that. I think they end up in the wild card. I think they end up a wild card team, and with poised to make a run. You can never count them out when you have Rodgers at quarterback. I think that they may make a small run in the playoffs. You look at the AFC North, and really, like Baltimore winning was big. That definitely puts them at 2-2 and a game behind Pittsburgh. But Pittsburgh now is 3-1. They have a full game lead. The Browns are 1-3. The Browns are one of those teams that should be way better than what they are. But I think the Browns' problem is that they've had a hard time scoring. They've only scored 66 points, which sounds about as bad as it is. 66 points is only 4 more points than the Denver Broncos have scored. And it's only 6 more points than the Jacksonville Jaguars have scored. So, 66 is not a good number when you're talking about four games into a season. By comparison, the Dolphins have scored 45 points in 4 games. Not very good. And, of course, we know the problems. So then you go to the AFC South. You have the Texans that are 3-1. The Colts are 2-2. And then the Titans are 1-3. And the Jaguars are 0-4. The problem with the Jaguars, they've given up 109 points. So when you're minus 45 in point differential through 4 games, you're not going to win. You're not going to win a lot of football games. So that is definitely their problem. 109 points given up by Jacksonville. If you go out west, you got the Chiefs at 4-0. I think they've gotten lucky a couple of games to still be at that. The Chargers are 2-2. The Broncos are 2-2, and the Raiders are 2-2. So that is right now the best division in the AFC. NFC East, kind of surprising. You got the Commanders at 3-1, winning that division. They've looked good. They have looked really good. They've scored, I believe it's 14, maybe 16 consecutive drives now that they've scored points in. So the Commanders are looking good in the East. Cowboys are 2-2. Eagles are 2-2, and the Giants are 1-3. Then in the North, you have the Vikings at 4-1. The Lions at 3. Vikings are 4-0. The Lions are 3-1. Bears are 2-2, and the Packers are 2-2 there. In the South, you have the Buccaneers playing well. 3-1. 2-2 for the Falcons, 2-2 for the Saints, and 1-3 for the Panthers. In the West, you have the Seahawks at 3-1, the 49ers at 2-2, and then Arizona and the Rams are both 1-3. The Rams have given up 115 points. This is not good there either. Well, that is the up to the minute standings there in the NFL. We went over the baseball matchups for tomorrow, which starts October, by the way. It's October 1st tomorrow. Kind of crazy that we're into October already, but coming on to the end of the year. and it'll be 2025 before we know it. Of course, the big sports story of the day is that Pete Rose is no longer with us, and Dikembe Mutombo as well. Interesting news out of the 49ers camp is that McCaffrey has Achilles tendonitis in both legs. I don't know what all that means per se, but I know it's not good that looking at that, of course, Rice, I believe now is out for the season for Kansas City. So they're going to be looking for new production out of their pass catchers there. So that is a big that's big news for Kansas City. Will they stay undefeated? Will that? We'll see how all that plays out. But stay tuned with us. Here I said that I think in a half an hour we're going to have C2C tonight coming up. Again, check out all of our great sponsors, Good Day Embroidery. Good Day Embroidery. We have I don't know why I can't think of them. You see them all down at the bottom. Reaper Apparel Company is another one. This is season 4 of the Bro Code podcast. Beside Me Bracelets is one of our sponsors as well. Check them out. Suzanne's Paparazzi Jewelry is another one. That's our longest running partner. So keep the lights on. That's what keeps us bringing these great things for you. Got about 2 minutes left here in the show tonight. So I just want y'all to reflect on this is a show that we're going to talk about guys stuff. We're going to talk about sports. And it's okay to do that sometimes. Make sure you're taking care of each other, though. Guys, it can be tough. But talk to someone, reach out. Don't leave yourself out there, hanging out there if you need someone to talk to. Reach out, please, because we are always here. We're always here to talk. And we don't want anyone to feel alone. So make sure that you reach out. But let's look for a great week. MLB postseason, NFL football starting on Thursday. We'll head off week 5 of the NFL. We got week 6 of college football season coming up. And I got to give a shout out to my UConn Huskies. Their biggest win in 6 or 7 years this last week against Buffalo. And now 3-2 on the season. So we're going to build off that momentum, see if we can't have a 7 or 8 win season. That would be ideal for us. Talks to going to the Pac-12. I would enjoy that. I could go watch them up in Corvallis, just up from the house here, and go see my team live. So sorry we couldn't bring you a better show, but we do what we can with what we're given during the time for the Bro Code podcast for C2C. However you watch us, listen to us, we appreciate every single one of you. J-Mac signing off for the night. We'll see you all on the other side.